Kendrick Lamar is the more that you listen, the more that you'll hear. And the more that you watch, the more that you'll see. So I just rewatched the Super Bowl halftime show again, and there's so much shit in this. Let's talk about it. First, I want to point out that his entire Super Bowl stage is a PlayStation controller. And who owns PlayStation? Sony? Where's Drake signed to? Sony. So that's the very first button that he's pushing here. Samuel L. Jackson comes out as Uncle Sam, and he starts the game. He says this is America's greatest game, but America's greatest game is actually on halftime, so that's not what he's talking about. Kendrick then opens with a clip of his song GNX, standing on top of his GNX. This man said, "You would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the loop." Meaning some of you are just not gonna get this. Followed by, started with nothing but government cheese, but now I can seize the government too. And then says the revolution's about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. And behind him, the crowd lights lit up, warning, wrong way. The background dancers are super important to this too because they're jumping out the GNX, all the different set colors. And then Kendrick goes into Squabble Up. And all of the sets kind of go into their own colors with their own people, and they get ready, and they look like they're about to fight. As he plays Squabble Up, they all stay in their own little sets, and they all squabble up together. They then all march into these lines on the stage, and it pops back to Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam says this isn't what America wants, it's too loud, it's too reckless, and it's too ghetto, and he asked if Kendrick even knows how to play the game. The dancers then follow Kendrick up onto stage, surround him in the shape of the American flag. Kendrick is the only star on the stage, and he follows the rules, and he plays humble. Sit down. Be humble. But at the end of it, he says, hold up. And then he goes into DNA. And notice that all the sets behind him are now stepping together. I got loyalty, I got royalty inside my DNA. Dude is reminding himself who he is. He ends this little bit with, wish I was, hold up, instead of wish I was dead. Then this man plays Euphoria, and all the sets are still together in their own colors, but they're all marching in line, and they're all marching towards the same thing, kind of like they're marching into battle. He then says it's KDOT, the fireworks go off, and he transitions into a brand new song that he debuted on the Super Bowl. I could be wrong about that, correct me if I am, but I'm pretty sure it was just debuted at the Super Bowl for the first time, and it's called Man at the Garden. And notice how the background dancers are all posted up like they're on the corner rapping like back in the days in the streets. He's literally taking it back to what he knows. And then he transitions into Peekaboo. But Uncle Sam pops back in and says that, oh, I see you brought your homeboys, the old culture cheat code. And then he deducts one life away from Kendrick. Almost like if you get all your people together, you could lose a life. This is where the subliminal messaging gets so deep, and he is the king of Easter eggs, I shit you not. Because now he's showing you exactly what to do on each move. Now on the X button, so this is the first button he decided to push. And if you pay attention, he'll show you exactly what you should be doing when you're making these moves yourself, because he's calling out to everybody in this performance. But the first move he wants to make is on Drake, and he comes through, and as he's playing Peekaboo, he does the Hotline Bling dance. This is also where he teased Not Like Us by saying he wanted to make a move, but he didn't play it, as if he's choosing the right moves and when to make them. And right now is not the right time. Then says he's gonna calm it down, and he goes over to the triangle button, and SZA and him perform their song Luther. Those lyrics say, better days coming for sure, and if it was up to me, I wouldn't give these nobodies no sympathy. And then we move over to the circle button. While they're all circling the circle with each other, the rest of the sets are marching towards the circle button. This is where Kendrick and SZA perform their song All the Stars. All the stars that are missing from that flag when Kendrick was the only one up there, we're all the stars. Everyone that is watching this performance is all the stars. He's calling to you. That's when Uncle Sam pops back in and says that's what America wants to see. It's nice and it's calm, and tells him not to mess this. And before he can say up, Kendrick starts playing the Not Like Us beat. He did his little bit with the girls, and they asked if he was really gonna do it, and he said, 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music. 40 acres and a mule is what they promised slaves after the Civil War. And then they tried to rig the game, but they can't fake influence, and smiled into the camera. And knowing Kendrick, he could be very influential. He then dragged Drake up and down New Orleans Super Bowl field, smiling straight into the camera when he said, say Drake. The crowd screamed A minor while he has a lowercase a on his chain, and the entire dancer spelled out minor. Then he brought out Serena Williams, and she was crip walking on Drake's grave. She's from Compton, she's Drake's ex, and her sister was also unalived in a drive-by shooting involving the Crips. Kendrick is literally saying it doesn't matter what's ever happened before, we gotta come together right now. And he's using Serena Williams in multiple different ways to show that. He then brought out Mustard and played TVs off and turned off the TV on Drake's ass. The lights in the crowd behind him said game over. And if you were to ask me, I'd say this is most likely a multiplayer game. Could sit you for hours in front of that loop, and some of y'all still won't get this. It's chess, it ain't checkers, and dude is diabolical. So if you hear somebody say that the Super Bowl halftime was trash, They just don't get it.